Thanks. My question's for Karen, actually. You mentioned a survey, if I understood correctly, of postdocs about research data. Could you elaborate a little more on that? Because I haven't heard about that one. Thanks.
Sure. So this wasn't, I wasn't actually part of this, but it was carried out by our library. Basically, surveyed 43 different institutions, the postdocs at those institutions, and we got, I think, it was 2,500 responses. And the ones that were surveyed, they got their data back. That's about as much information I know about it, other than 3 questions about data management. There was a variety of questions. It was just sort of a temperature test of postdocs at the time.
Do you have a citation for that, or is the information out there on the internet?
It's on the slides. I could, if you want to come and talk to me after, I can show you
Thanks.
that.
I have a question for Carly. This is actually a question which came from one of my faculty when we did the workshop on DMP2 for Office of Research. One of the faculty asked us whether or not the DMP tool will have the kind of like a length control, you know, when they go through step by step, where you can put some free text there, and then at the end it will generate a report. But the ANSF requirement is 2 pages. You can, like, they wonder whether or not there is a length control, like they're gonna cut it off or.
Oh yeah, so is this on? Hello, okay. So yeah, we don't in any way monitor how long that plan is. So if you write, 2 pages for one question, then we'll give you a PDF that includes those 2 pages and all the other stuff that you wrote. So we don't have any restrictions on that. We try to leave it as open as possible. In fact, one of the iterations that we're going to try and get done before we go live with the new version is to have like a best data management template. And so this would not necessarily be, only 2 pages and only answer these 5 questions and then you're good to go. Instead, it'll be, this is a very thorough set of questions that are going to hopefully help, a first-year researcher or a postdoc before they start their project really think carefully about how they want to move through that. And so we try not to focus too much on meeting funder requirements internally with the plan. Obviously, that's what the researchers care about. So, but that's, that's up to them, basically.
Anybody else have questions?
Hi, this is for Carly. So you talked about on the admin side being able to put in your own template and resources and whatever. Do you have to be a partner or a member to be able to do that?
No, I don't think that we've worked out yet how, I should ask them, how exactly we're gonna, I think right now the system is gonna be if you wanna be an administrator, you have to ping one of us or the uc3@ucop.edu help email, and basically anybody who wants to be an administrator can be one. We don't have restrictions on that. In fact, if you start customizing it, then you're officially a partner, whether you like it or not. So,
Carly, I have a question for you. I noticed in the frequently asked questions on the DMP tool, there was something like, how can I co-collaborate on a plan? So what if you're working with somebody outside of your institution, your co-PIs, and you need to work on the same plan? Is there any way to do that with the tool?
yeah, so the co-owner possibility is now making that possible. They don't have to be within your institution. So as long as they've logged into the DMP tool once, then we can make them a co-owner of that plan. And you can have as many co-owners as you want. So assuming they've logged into the plan once, then anybody can be a co-owner, and it'll show up in the dashboard when you log in, and it'll tell you the name of the owner. So if you own it and you share it with me, it'll say you're the owner, but I can access it and edit it.
Anybody else have questions?
Hi, this is for Carly, and maybe the audience too. I don't know. I'm just curious if you've gotten a lot of feedback about this Culttxt. We are recent partners. We haven't updated or customized yet because we're waiting for DMP Tool 2. We had a previous system that was sort of a homegrown, similar, much inferior version of this. And we did have some help text in there, and we really found that people were copying and pasting directly into the plan without understanding what they were saying.
Right.
And I don't know if you've gotten any feedback on that. Like, I'm very nervous
Right, yeah.
about putting information in there because I don't trust them
Researchers.
to ask questions if they don't understand.
Right. No, I think and it's something that comes up a lot when we present to libraries and librarians that work with researchers is, you can't give this to them because then they'll just like copy and paste and submit some crappy plan that we all have to deal with, 3 years from now. And I think it's a really valid point. I think what we're trying to do is to simplify and kind of scale the common elements of a data management plan with the recognition that we would love for every researcher to talk to their librarians. And that's why we're really excited about having the logo and the ability to, contact a librarian directly. We've also implemented this review thing, which if, an institution was so inclined, they could potentially partner with their grants and special projects offices, require review, have some way wherein they won't submit the proposal for the researcher until it's gone through the review process within the data management planning tool. So that's a possibility now with the new version, which people might, try. I mean, I would love to see an implementation of that. I'm sure that the guinea pig will incur a lot of wrath from the researchers, but I think it'll be a really interesting thing to try and incorporate because you're right. I mean, you don't want them just copying and pasting. It's a tension, right? It's a tension between providing them with something that's useful and helpful and simple, but that doesn't make it so simple that they just copy paste and do a crummy job. So,
Are there any other questions?
One more for you, Carly.
All right.
Date for when DMP2 will come live and a date for when we can input our own information rather than sending it to you?
so the both dates are as yet undisclosed to me, but I have told our tech lead I need a date when I get back from this trip. So hopefully I'll have an actual date that I can tweet out to the world starting on Monday. We know it's in May, I can tell you that. If I had to guess, I would say end of May. And our goal is to actually contact, if you're not already an administrator on the DMP tool and you want to be one, you can send us an email through the Contact Us page on the website, and it'll set you up and allow you to be a part of the administrator's listserv. If you're on that listserv, then you'll get an email before the tool goes live, hopefully at least a 2-week email, 2 weeks ahead. And those 2 weeks will be the 2 weeks that you can customize the tool, clean it up, make it look the way you want it to look so that when the researchers get the live version, it's up and ready to go. So ideally, within the next month, administrators will be getting an email with instructions on how to customize it, because I think there will also be lots of questions. We'll have a webinar, hopefully, on how to customize the tool, kind of walk you through a simple version of customizing one of the templates, and get that out so that if you have the time and energy, it'll be a short turnaround, but if you have the time and energy, then you can do that before it goes live. But keep an eye out on the blog. We'll announce it on the blog as soon as we have an official date.
Hi, this question is for Karen. We get a lot of questions when we introduce our teaching materials to the librarians about how you get your foot in the door. And I wondered if you could talk about, I know you were an informationist, and so that opened up some doors, but I wondered if you could talk more about how you'll be able to roll out a research data management instructional program, how you get your foot in the door, what are some of the things that you're doing?
Okay, good question. So I think what we found was a lot of doors were opened by being able to have something to show them. Certainly that teaser video and sort of the material that we developed for the first class, we were able to show to the person who was a clinical data expert, and just having something to sort of show what we knew and something tangible they could look at seems to have kept creeping us forward. And you can see we began this back in 2011, so it really is a long process to sort of, and now we sort of feel like we're coming to a cusp of something where we can, it is a long process, but that's, I think, keep edging in there and proving your value, but also sort of not, I guess, not pretending to know things you don't know, and sort of being very frank about, this is our knowledge, this is what we have to contribute, and then partnering with people who have the expertise, because what we found was, particularly in clinical, there's clinical data experts, but there's nobody rushing to create educational material. So we said, we're happy to put the framework around the material if you can help us with the content. And that was sort of a relief to not to have to become an expert at everything, but to sort of mine their brains, if you like. So I think that's kind of been our process, but it is long and time consuming.
Are there any other questions? Oh, well, thank you very much to our speakers, Karen and Carly.